The bans have begun. So, Blitz.
Darkseer, first ban, you're almost always going to see it. Nowadays,
especially against Complexity.
yeah. I think Alliance, though, are one of the teams that can deal with it well because they're one of the teams that I think are comfortable doing defensive tri-lanes like we saw in the last game. Some teams you can clearly see they are not comfortable doing defensive tri-lanes. Like Fnatic did not look like they wanted to ever do defensive tri-lanes.
Well, what's up with that change? Because I feel like 4 or 5 months ago, nobody was doing anything but safe tri-lanes. Why has it changed up? Why do so many people do dual lanes now? Aggressive tries are happening again.
Because it's Dota is a game of just you outgreed the enemy team, then you hit a point where you outgreed them so much that you have to you have to revert back. So at one point it was, okay, we're going to play safe tri-lane. So then people said, okay, this is very static. How do we gain an advantage out of the laning phase? Oh, we'll pick a slightly greedier 4 position and pick a carry that can kill. That was why heroes like Jug, Ursa were so popular, because they can almost always kill the offlaner with any 2 heroes. Then the counter to that is, okay, we'll pick an offlaner that can punish the fact that you're going to run this dual lane. We'll pick a hero like Darkseer, which crushes almost all melee heroes. So then you have to go back to the point where you say, okay, I guess now we have to safe tri-lane again, try to take the enemy tower first. And it's a back and forth constantly.
So this is the exact same opening. I mean, obviously there's a different team having first pick and there's a different team on the Dire, but both teams do the exact same thing as they did before. Are you still going to go for the Lion if you're Complexity? Like
Other way around, though.
Yeah, but where do you think, like, where is Complexity gonna take a different turn compared to previous game?
Witch Doctor?
Rather than the Lion?
Yeah, I kind of liked Witch Doctor more, especially against Beast.
It's better fighting early, definitely.
Oh.
So that's the anti-push hero, the best anti-push support.
And it's really good to keep the person that gets roared safe, depending on which follow-up. Of course, Alliance has on that, if it's magical or physical damage mostly, but...
Winter's Curse is also excellent against all summon-based carries.
And Beastmaster, definitely, because of Aura.
And you get the Necro Book, but it does mean, I guess, I don't know how much kill potential you have with Wyvern in a game like this. Depends on what you pick as your safe laner.
There's always Splinter Blast targets, though. That's really one nice thing. There's always going to be a lot of value from casting that skill.
Yeah.
Oh, same opening.
Oh, damn, same thing. Okay.
Jakiro.
Get it, Alliance.
So they're gonna have less. They're gonna have less lockdown goal.
If you can't fix it and you can't deal with it, then I'm just going to pick it again.
But they've already adjusted for it right off the bat is part of the problem. Like, what Alliance did well there is instead of farming for the first 12 minutes and then pushing, they said we get our 6s and then we go mid, and all of a sudden mid's gone. And it forced Complexity to react. But now they've got a good support that can react to it. If Winter Wyvern is at least like 5, he can generally counter push so much better, and it'll make it a lot harder for Alliance to take those towers.
They really didn't have any wave clear on the side of Complexity, because
Tide Lion, that's not good.
Whenever I look at push lineups, what always gets determined is how quickly can you just clear a wave or make it difficult to stop the enemy push. Just because pushes are predicated on having a creep wave, right? You have no creep wave, you can't do anything. But if you looked at Complexity's lineup, the only wave clear that they had was Dragon Knight's Breathe Fire. You can't really send Weaver that close up. Same with the other heroes, just because you have so many melees. Tidehunter obviously can't really commit that far in.
You know what they should have picked? Jakiro maybe. Macro Pyre the towers so that all the creeps just die endlessly. Get Ags on it. That's 30 seconds, dude.
Yeah. Get an Alchemist.
That's actually
Alchemist first Ags to Jakiro.
Oh, that's beautiful. Ags, Octarine, Jakiro. For 30 seconds out of 45, you'll have Macro Pyre down.
Blitz, why are you not triggered yet? You're so relaxed under that.
Because I'm... Jakiro only bothered me because every single time I felt it picked, when it was picked, after the game, it was like, that was the wrong hero. But in the last game, it worked out really well. Yeah. It's not that I hate the hero, it's just bad history, 0-13 when I've seen him play so far.
Jakiro hater.
Well, one thing that EGM did really well that game, though, is he transitioned into push teamfight. He got a mech on the hero rather than saying, I'm going to get the Yules build that was popular a year ago. The Yules that lets you set up your combo. You're not there to set up the combo. You're there to keep throwing out stuns every 9 seconds and to heal your team and to push towers. And the mech does that. It's like how Jakiro first came out, and then they went into the Yules build, and maybe that's where he needs to be right now as a support, his mech.
That was because Yules was so good at that point that you could use. You could pretty much grab it on anybody, but it's like when we talked about it, where if you get over reliant on Ice Path, then you could have just taken a different hero, and it would have fulfilled a similar purpose, if not better.
So last ban coming out soon from Alliance. I mean, they already removed the axe, obviously, because of the Winter Wyvern extra that Complexity pulled out on the Monday.
Yeah.
Which other heroes are you going to be worried about?
Jug, NP, or Tiny?
Oh yeah, Limp's Tiny. We saw Tiny banned out against Complexity like the first day in all the games.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you're saying Jug, Tiny because their ability to get kills, which kind of delays pushes, and then NP because of split push.
Oh,
if you're
they
all in pushing.
ban Night Stalker?
Counter vision?
I guess, but it
What
would.
about Chessie's Invoker then?
Chessie Invoker is what knocked out Alliance out of Shanghai.
Yep.
That was insane. Was this how it was
Got a
in
chance
Shanghai?
to pick it now as well.
Yeah.
And they banned almost all Loda heroes in second round too.
Respect.
Racing still in. They can go for that again.
That's the old Alliance standby. When Alliance loses a game, they go back to the Loda Naga sign because it's so reliable.
Yeah.
For Complexity, I still think any of those three heroes. Tiny gives them more presence in the mid game, same with Nature's Prophet. But it's
Okay.
going to be the Earth Spirit.
So
you have your two
hereby,
supports.
again, this time revealing that Swindles will be playing that Doom.
Yeah.
I sort of like this. I mean, they've got really good team fight once they all get 6 on Cole. So they could potentially take a fight at that first tower if they get equal levels to their opponents.
Oh, Faceless Void.
And this kind of changes their gears a bit, right? Because now Beastmaster's either in a solo lane versus a solo hero, or he's jungling. And they're not as good at pushing as they were last game. So by doing the Beastmaster Jakiro opening again, it may force Complexity to overreact to this expected all-in push thing, and now they're going to go for something completely different. And they might not have their counter picks that they've been prepping for this might not be as good as this other strat that Alliance will pivot into. But then they still have Jakiro, I guess, and then Jakiro is probably less good at those other things.
Yeah. I'd still like to see one of those cores, Tiny or Jug. Against Faceless Void, though, it's difficult. Faceless Void is like the anti-carry.
It's good with Jakiro as well. Macro
Yeah.
Power plus Chrono. You get good value out of the skill. And it's good against Winter Wyvern too, kind of. I mean, if you cold embrace somebody, Jakiro's almost all magic damage. Just drop it down. Fire counters ice, everyone knows that.
Yeah, that's how that works.
That'd
That's
be really
true.
cool if that worked in Dota. Like the Pokemon
Super-
counters.
It's already complicated enough. I mean, it's not that different really. If you think about like magic, the balance between magic pure and physical.
Earth
And
does
the
extra damage to
resistances.
fire. Fire does extra damage to ice.
I'd be down to see that.
The benefits there, guys, is that every hero can do just about everything, and we don't have to be limited as much by picks.
Yeah.
I guarantee if the game was, it'd be bad balance that way.
It'd be a challenge, that's for sure. Okay, so Complexity, still thinking about it, not convinced about the Jagger or the Tiny, for that matter.
I just think you can abuse cooldowns, but... And it does well against Beastmaster. It allows you to roam the Earth Spirit alone, but it's going to be Gyrocopter, gets Dire Side. Not a hero I see Cole pick up all the time, but...
Well, they pick it sometimes, even in mid, occasionally. I sort of like it here. They've got pretty strong team fight.
Oh, was that a Lich
Good
Void
early
offlane?
roaming. Lich Void can work pretty well. The Frost Armor's not amazing this game, though. I wouldn't say. But
I think
the
it's
lane
more about
advantage is
punishing...
good.
Yeah, I think it's more about punishing greedy heroes.
Yeah.
But is Gyro really that punishable compared to most? It's not like he's a super hard carry, you know? Like, he can contribute to lane. They can just kill Lich, hypothetically.
Yeah. It does keep the Earth Spirit in the safe lane a lot, though. Found out the Quap. Very good split push hero.
So if you're Alliance, you need a hero that can stay alive against rotations from Earth Spirit. Is that something that you're worried about?
Yeah, for the most part. They have a lot of team fight on the side of Alliance. You need something that ties it all together. I'm down with Puck. Or Puck. I'm down with Puck on either lineup.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, Limp Puck and S4 Puck, both signature heroes for them. So
Yeah.
the first pick after this ban goes to Alliance, though, so
Yeah.
they would have the upper hand there and getting their hands on it.
Guess it depends on what they feel like matchup-wise will happen.
Oh, they ban out the Dragon Knight.
Yeah. I'd like to see Puck. I think it ties everything together. Grants him a lot of team fight. The only downside, though, is they pretty much have a single core Void, which is always really risky to do. But I kind of think S4 Puck is still sort of a thing. On the side of... I like it on both teams. I'm okay with it on either side.
Is it that safe against Doom though? Because if he just dooms your solo core, I mean, Void can still DPS and do a lot of stuff through that.
Yeah, it's the downside.
I would like to see Shadow Fiend or something.
Oh, SF sounds sick.
How does SF fit where Puck doesn't? Just because he's tanky and takes focus and stuff?
Maybe he functions as a secondary core.
Yeah, that's the main thing. He'd function as a secondary core. Oh, it's DP. Okay, she does both.
This another pushing is a lot better again.
And it synergizes well with the Faceless Void.
We saw Secret and Liquid, I think, run this yesterday. I think both teams. So it hasn't fallen off too much.
DP's pretty justified here, yeah. With Frost Armor as well. It's normally, she has some weakness in armor, but they can burst her down pretty straightforward. Or they won't be able to now because of Lich.
There's two things that she does well here, and we should have seen, but DP just kind of had that slight fall off is she wins you the lane, and more importantly, she transitions into a core okay. She can do both of those dual functions, and I think it's pretty good.
And they're not that burst heavy on Cole right now. It's one thing that they're missing. They were looking okay on the other 4 heroes, but once Death Prophet gets really tanky, they're going to have a lot of trouble killing her. So maybe they need some kind of burst damage mid-hero, I think, to make this all tie together.
Phantom.
Oh, it's PL mid.
Wow.
PL.
Guess
That's been a while.
That works okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Does it follow through still, the Spirit Siphon?
I assume it does. I don't think they changed that aspect.
Nice.
It does do magic damage, but it's still a percentage of health. That doesn't matter for PL. So.
Okay, just very quickly then, each of you, predictions based on the draft. Shiva?
I want to believe that Complexity can take
Wanna
it.
believe?
Because I think these two teams are so even that there should be a third game.
Okay, with you?
I think I like Alliance's draft better this time. I just think they're going to have trouble bursting down the DP late game.
Okay,
and they can
but you like their draft first game. How about the second one?
I think Alliance win this, and I think they win it even easier than the first game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, all three of you. Let's head back to the commentary team. The G-men are standing by to bring you Game 2 of Alliance. Can they make it 2-0 and make it through to the lower bracket final? Let's find out.
Thank you, Red Eye. Yeah, I'm Gareth, joining me, Gods, and we are here for Game 2 of Complexity up against Alliance. Game 1, even on kill score, but Alliance had what seemingly was the better draft, better execution, and Complexity, they come out with something a little bit different in Game number 2. Wyvern first phase picked, which we haven't seen really at all, and then a PL as their 5th pick. And it looks like that's going to be the mid-hero for Limp.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the PL pick. I think it's a rough matchup against the Death Prophet. I think Complexity's draft just doesn't take objectives well. And you look at the side of Alliance, you've got the Beastmaster Jakiro opening, great at transitioning pickoffs into pushes, and then you combo that with an Exorcism now. So I think Alliance have got themselves a really well-rounded lineup which can do well in the laning stage. You've got the Lich to guarantee that. And then in the mid-game, it's incredibly powerful at taking objectives, finding pickoffs, and even taking teamfights when you've got the Chronosphere. So I think Alliance kind of don't have many weaknesses with their draft. On the side of Complexity, there's a lot of pressure on players like Z-Freak to get a lot out of this Earth Spirit, to apply pressure on those lanes and find some early momentum to go Complexity's way.
So quite often with Complexity, what they would look to do is have the Earth Spirit in like a dual offlane setup, at least for a little bit of the first 5 minutes or so. But there's no Darkseer here. It's a Doom offlane for Swindles.
Well, Doom's going safe lane. They're actually going to mix up the... I think... I actually kind of agree with Blitz. I think Alliance just have a flat-out better draft, and I think Complexity's maybe recognizing that. Their response is like, we got to do some funky lanes. We got to really catch them by surprise. They're going to aggro trial lane. Yeah. If you just do standard lanes, I think Alliance just... If they can go like kind of even and just have a stable laning stage, they just straight up win the mid-game. So this is Cole's way of saying, let's punish the early game and cause problems.
Going for both bounty runes, but they don't realize that Jesse was up on the high ground. They roll in with Z-Freak, and the dual breath is there onto Bulldog. So let's pull little Beastmaster, right-click down, and the first blood goes to Z-Freak. Oh, bounty rune. What happened there? Was that denied by the boy? You cheeky little devil, Bulldog.
Yeah, he's like, you're going to take me, but I'm going to take your bounty rune down.
So technically, Alliance get both bounty runes. One of them actually picked up by S4, the other one removed from the game. And it's going to be a dual offlane here. Arcade and Loader realizing that, okay, Complexity, if you're going to run this aggro tri-lane up against us, we'll switch our lanes up as well. And the fact they did go for both rune spots meant that they had the intel to know what was going on.
Yeah. And Ake blocks Swindle's camp. And this is, I mean, I talk about Complexity trying to take it to Alliance in the lane stage. It feels like Alliance almost recognizing that. And that's why they're doing the Void in the offlane. He's going to get a much easier time farming up there. He's got the Lich there to support him. Swindle's is going to have another rough lane. Not a lane he should die in, but a lane where he's just not going to get much farm and not going to be able to contest he was hoping to be just like a solo Beastmaster.
Swindle's rough time. Bottom lane looks like it's going as expected. EGM taking the brunt of the aggro from Hanskin and Z-Freak as they push him a little bit further off the lane. And it's mid, that's the interesting one. Wait a second. Okay, just going in on Swindles down to half HP. You get out of here. This isn't your lane anymore. But mid lane, PL against Death Prophet. Like you said, it's not really favorable for the Phantom Lancer. I guess once he gets up to like level 4 or 5, maybe he can do dish a bit of damage back into S4's Death Prophet. But Spirit Siphon, going through the Doppelganger, maybe not damaging Limp, but still giving HP back into S4 and giving the ability to catch up and chase. Death Prophet has a lot of nuke damage behind her.
Yeah, I think the idea was you've got this roaming Earth Spirit. What's a hero in mid that can really pressure to find kills onto the Death Prophet? So like a PL with an Earth Spirit roaming is great, but Earth Spirit may be tied up towards this bottom lane, so not entirely sure what Z-Freak's approach is going to be, but for now rolls in the bottom, catches EGM.
Approach into the Jakiro very quickly, and he's dropping low, but he's tangoed up and he has a salve available. He's tanky with that 2+1 armor.
And Chessie was farming the lane which had been pushed up, so he wasn't close enough to get that rocket barrage off.
Now S4 has a DD, so this lane which, S4 was probably bullying Limp already to begin with, even more difficult for Limp. Still yet to get his bottle. 100 or so gold away from that, while S4 let's go back to his high ground and continue getting these denies and a little bit of harass back. Look at that Limp, he's got a salve left though.
Yep.
That's not going to be too bad.
And he's actually even on CS right now, so it's gone fine for him as far as the first couple of minutes are concerned. But you're picking this PL mid to really be able to pressure for kills. That's kind of where teams like TNC and MVP Phoenix started using this pick in the mid lane against Invokers to really pressure for kills with rotations. And speaking of which, Z-Freak with level 2 now Boulder Smash is making his way towards the mid lane.
S4, 1 Fairy Fire,
and
740 HP.
Has 2 Spirit Siphons, so has got some HP regen. Beastmaster Hawk, though, scouts out Z-Freak's rotation, so nicely played from Bulldog, sending that Hawk to help protect that mid lane.
They realize that EGM has been allowed to get this pull off. Z-Freak spent a lot of time blocking up that camp and making sure there were no little equilibrium shifts here for Alliance and bottom lane. Swindles, he gives up on top, he heads back into the jungle. And with safe lane Doom, I do wonder, it is your 3 role. The farm priority isn't going to be there against a Lich and a Faceless Void. 8 last hits is okay, it's acceptable, but the kind of build Swindles goes for here is going to be interesting.
Yeah. What's he for? Some boots, I guess? Yeah, boots, tangos. He's just getting some more regen for the lane. And Z-Freak just can't really find a lane to get something done. He spent a lot of time mid lane, but there was a Radiant Ward scouting him out behind that tier 1 tower, trying to hide in the trees there, and also scouts out the high ground, so this is going to be S4 who secures himself the top 4-minute rune as well. PL not looking to contest that one.
He tried.
Yeah, it's
he ran up towards it and was like, Spirit Siphon, that's an ability in the game. I'm not gonna go for that one.
Absolutely. So this Limp with a bit of a level advantage over S4. I imagine he got a few denies on range creeps to manage this.
That change was pretty big for the mid lane. It's up to 90 experience for range creeps now from 50 or so, from 45.
Yep.
So big old shift there. Range creeps incredibly important to take out.
Yeah, Limp's winning this lane, so completely kind of going against what I said, where he should have a slightly tough time. S4 has not been able to bully him whatsoever. The poor man shield, the bottle crow, he's
even with
doing
the DD,
just fine.
Even with that DD, S4 picks up. Not quite able to, but top Swindles. There's the bash and the time dilation, but Arke was making his way up towards the top rune spot. He wasn't available there for the Frost Blast to slow Swindles down, and of course Scorched Earth. It gives you so much more leeway to actually heal up through these little scrappy engagements with the dual lane up at top. An early scan there, but it's the rolling onto EGM that Z-Freak looks for. Good damage output onto the Jakiro with the Winter Wyvern slow. Chessie making his way over, but EGM's already dead. Flat Cannon actually finds the kill, just about, giving that kill over to Chessie.
Oh, Basher top loader. Gonna see TPs come his way. They want to save Swindles.
He's not quite dead. 20 health. Hanskin and Z-Freak both coming in. They might even look to go on loader here. Roll available, but he doesn't have the mana for the roll and the Boulder Smash. So Earth Spirit will clarity up and maybe wait a little bit to jump in onto Arke. Well, this does mean that Chessie, of course, is left in a 1v2. They rotate the 2 supports up the top to save Swindles and maybe look for a counter kill. And it's 2 TPs, not necessarily wasted, but definitely expended for not too much in return.
Swindles will be pushed back to his own fountain, so not really ideal. And with TPing to both heroes there, it means Chessie gets left alone bottom, so he can no longer really go up and contest the farm in this lane against the Boars, as well as the Jakiro. Even just a level 2 Jakiro with Beastmaster level 5, they can likely keep Chessie out of this lane.
Limp. Now he's the one with the DD rune, and this is definitely kill potential for him, but Z-Freak at top, roll away. And, oh, Earth Spirit. Perfectly acceptable for him to get out of that one, but the DD from Limp has popped at mid S4, trying to Spirit Summon back onto 2. Hanskin, he's giving a lot of life back to this DP, but still Limp has the illusions and the damage with Chessie helping out. And cannon forward.
That's the PL mid. That's what you want to get done there. You're just asking for those rotations to happen so you can find the kills. With any kind of DD or haste rune, you've just got such good kill potential with Spirit Lance and Doppelganger. And Chessie's here as well. They're actually going to likely get a T1 tower at 7 minutes in. Not just any T1 tower. Yeah, exactly. A mid T1 tower this early on is unheard of.
Well, I guess Chessie thought, screw it, I can't farm jungle, I can't stick bottom lane. I want to move back up to the safe lane so I can farm, and Swindles shows that. And with his TP down towards bottom, wants his level 6. This is one of the great things, you know, about that kind of safe lane Doom where they swap up their lanes. Maybe you have a bit of a deficit with your Wyvern and your Earth Spirit not being able to stack and pull and gain experience for themselves. But you've given a lot to this Doombringer. You've given a fair amount over to Chessie as well, who's closing in on his 6. Swindles, he's able to deal with liquid fire.
Here.
Oh, you're right. He deals with liquid fire, but the raw and another dual breath coming up. Can he deal with that? Well, Limp turns it back around onto Bulldog, and Swindle's not dead just yet. He will drop before Bulldog loses his life as well.
It's an okay trade for Cole. Getting the Beastmaster, who is farming a lot better than their Doom, who is already struggling. At least an even trade. And it's the PL who gets like solo XP. Doesn't get the actually credit the kill, the creeps last hitting it, but PL now level 8, 1100 gold, looking at a very fast boots of travel pickup likely for Limp's Phantom Lancer.
He's a full half level ahead of that Death Prophet. And you're right, yeah, he's got Aquila bottle and 1100 gold, wow. Tons of, I guess the tier 1 tower mid definitely helps out on that one, doesn't it? Z-Freak hiding away in the trees, looking for maybe Alliance to jump in onto Chessie, and they want that level 6. They need that cooldown so desperately to be able to turn these fights, or maybe even look for little engagements of their own aggressively. Swindle's Doom is nearly available, but S4's Death Prophet double Null Talisman. Quite often we've seen, you know, Pucks and we've seen Queens of Pain go for the double Null into Veil.
We'll see it here from S4.
Oh, the TP down to bottom, there we go. Level 6 not even yet up for Chessie, but he's still moving himself around. Oh, that's not the aggressive play, is it? It's the get the hell out of tier 1 top range because Loda has Chrono.
And they saw the TP top from EGM. So as soon as you see that Jakiro TP top underneath the ward, you're thinking, okay, they're committing hard to this with Chrono and Liquid Fire. Let's make sure we can get a trade out of it. So Hanskin goes bottom with Chessie, and they're going to try and get a counter tower here. But Cole's lineup does not push very well, something we talked about after the draft, where Cole's ability to take towers is much more limited than Alliance's.
Slowly chipping away with the gyro. The Winter Wyvern down at bottom. Oh, gets it with the help of the catapult though. That armor's not going to save you. And it's a trade-off though. Alliance get the one up at top lane. Limp, what do you got? Magic Stick picked up.
So Cole at least happy to get the trade there, and with another creep wave, Chessie will have that level 6 cooldown.
The builds on Death Prophet, they've kind of shifted over the past. Well, I guess since Starladder, we saw VGR, they had kind of treads and ghost scepters just tanking up as much as you can. Oh, roar onto Swindles actually, deep in behind enemy lines. Time dilation and the Chrono thrown out will kill off Swindles. S4 drop low. Limp.
Very aggressive movement from Swindles, getting punished. But
you thought with the tier 1 mid down that Limp could shift over a little bit faster maybe.
And I think he wasn't expecting, like Lotus TP and Chronosphere commitment was a lot of ultis expended, so Cole likely to get a counter for this, or a trade.
Very far from EGM, walks back into the creep wave, and he's actually surviving through this, baits Chessie into the little cubby hole there, but Loda can't roll on in. And speaking of rolls, it's a movement out by Z-Freak, and that is a full Veil done for S4. What does this give S4 in the early game that, you know, tanking it with treads, getting a bracer, drums, Yule sets, all these kind of standard builds?
Yeah, it's good stats. Armor, like it's stats and armor. It's kind of in some ways like a new drums for this hero. Like it's not quite the same amount of bonus stats as like a drums gives you, but it's +6 strength and agi. So you get like a 1 point in armor, you get a decent amount of HP out of it. You get tons of intel as well. So all the stats for a hero like Death Prophet are great, and the bonus armor makes you a little bit harder to kill against the physical damage of heroes like the Phantom Lancer. So
I guess a lot of people look at Death Prophet and think exorcism, physical damage, that's where all of our damage comes from. But you look at the stats of it, and 60% of her damage in team fights or 70% of her damage in team fights comes from Crypt Swarm. With the low cooldown on that magic damage, having that amped up by the Veil of Discord is huge.
And the crazy thing with this item is it's almost worth buying, even not for the active cast ability. Like, just because of how cost-effective it is, and it's one item slot.
Exactly, one item slot,
You want to buy Null Talismans anywhere in Death Prophet, so the reason you don't buy 2, 3, 4 Null Talismans in Death Prophet is because you're limited on item slots. But
you have to start selling them off.
Combine them into this one item slot. It's great. You get some armor in there from the helm, you get HP regen. All the stats from this item are fantastic.
Good. Necro 1 finally up, and there we go. This is what we've seen from Bulldog, usually in his offlane role on that Beastmaster. Smoke prepared, he's level 8. And he'll start looking for these kills. Primary targets, of course, you're going to be looking for that Gyrocopter. Maybe try and catch out someone like the Phantom Lancer as well. But Limp is a slippery devil. It's difficult to actually pick him off and kill him.
Yeah, they'll have to smoke away from this ward, which they're very close to.
Whose scan was that? Complexity scan? Not seeing anyone. A little bit of static play here from both teams as Swindle's 1,700 gold in the bank, looking to pick up his first item, but a smoke. There we go from Alliance. Bulldog didn't use it on himself alone. He brings S4 with him.
Yep. Cold didn't see the smoke, but they did catch a small glimpse of Bulldog in that top lane, and they probably scattered the fact he had one. So this is perhaps a move they're going to be ready for, but I say that, they're walking right into it in near the mid lane.
Kill the Hawk. There's no vision. Seafreak and Chesty retreat back behind their tier 2.
There was just a ping from Swindle, which was almost like right on top of S4 and Bulldog. Okay, as they say that he's going to TP. All right.
He's got the hood, but he's roared up. He does not get a Scorched Earth. Oh, yes, he does. He got Scorched Earth off in time. Spirit Sun is still dreading him. Drow down low. Swindle's barely escaping while EGM comes in. The Chrono down on the Chesty and Limp. But the damage output isn't quite there from Alliance until the Chain Frost finally lands, but bouncing back onto Swindle's into Seafreak again. The Illusion's taking a little bit of this damage. With Complexity, they've lost 2 heroes, while EGM magnetized and doomed. They'll try and deny him off. Okay, Bulldog turn to kill, and there's the deny. All very low and tail between legs. Alliance, they retreat out, but it's a good trade for them, even if they do have to return to Fountain to lick their wounds.
Yeah, and that could have been a great fight for Cole, but the Earth Spirit, once he gets the Magnetize off, he just gets bursted down, so he's unable to refresh the Magnetize to continue getting more damage out. But if he stays alive, refreshes that, he still has 3 Stone Remnant charges left. He could have done a huge amount of damage, but fortunately for Cole, they just weren't able to land all their follow-up spells. The PL couldn't really engage. Once that Chain Frost starts flying, everyone just had to kind of do their best Delta Split impression, and Winter's Curse never came out from Handskin, and it was Alliance willing to commit all their big ultimates to ensure that fight went according to plan, and they don't get a tower off of it to follow, which is often something you talk about the Alliance draft being good at, but they make sure they win the much-needed team fight.
Yeah, it gives them a little chunk of gold and a little bit of experience, but load up Maelstrom and Treads, going for, of course, that kind of carry build on Faceless Void. Does have to deal with the Phantom Lancer illusions as well, so that's probably something that was flagged up very early on, is that their ability to clear PL illusions is difficult. And that's just actually flagged something for me as well, that the Veil is going to be able to show them the real PL in the midst of all the team fight. Because you can use it on a group of illusions and you can see which one's affected, or did they change that?
I think they changed it so that Veil's dispellable now. I'm not sure if that includes Doppelganger.
Oh yeah, I think you can dispel it, but I mean in the middle of a team fight, S4 in the meantime is caught and destroyed by Complexity. The cooldown also deterring anyone else from Alliance joining in, while Arke forced back behind the tier 2.
And good aggressive move, like with all the big ultimates on cooldown. Even Raw just coming up now, there was no Chronosphere, Chain Frost just comes up, Exorcism was still down, Complexity timed that gank, such that Alliance were not ready to take the fight, and they're going to get a tier 1 tower to follow this up.
Meantime, Loader just returns to farming, realizes he can't really do too much there. EGM, Boulder Smash from Seafreak. And he's got the Magnetize as well, while EGM TP's out, realizes there's a Winter's Curse there, not going to need it to stop him. The damage output was good enough from the 2 supports to find that pickoff.
Oh, Swindles.
Oh dearie me. Necro 1 with a Chain Frost expended as well. I really wanted that kill.
Well, And that's the thing, Alliance, yeah, you have to commit like a couple ultis there, but they've got 4 very high impact ones. They've still got the Chronosphere and the Exorcism, so it's not like Cole can turn around and say, oh, they committed Roar and Chain Frost for me. Let's go and smoke up again, try and take a fight. I think they still have to be very wary of fighting into the Lotus Sphere.
Don't forget about Macro Pyre.
I always forget about Macro Pyre.
Z-Freak, you forgot about the Death Prophet's silence. He will be able to roll himself further away. And, oh, nice. That was pretty sick, actually. Kick S4 at the same time as he rolls away, so he doesn't get in the... So he doesn't get in the way of that boulder roll. But Bulldog, he's bossing up on top lane, 1500, and it looks like he'll go for the Necro one into Blink again for that extra initiation. And something between the Beastmaster and Void that didn't really come to mind until yesterday, actually, for me, is that if you do manage to land a Chrono on the frontliners of Complexity, let's say, Bulldog can jump into the backlines and maybe even roar and push people into the Chrono from the back. We're looking towards that as well. Especially these pesky little PL illusions. Heroes like the Earth Spirit and Wyvern, who are both very positional supports, right? Earth Spirit, we often see, he rolls in, he does his spells, but it's all about rolling in from the correct angle, catching that right tangent and seeing what target you go for, while Wyvern, same story.
And even just catch the Wyvern. Wyvern's the hero that wants to save people inside the Chronosphere with that Cold Embrace. So if you can get the Raw into him on the backlines, just going to ensure that the Void secures those kills inside the Chrono. With that said, there's still a ton of magic damage, and that's where this Cold Embrace is not going to necessarily be a solution to the aggression of Alliance when there's Chain Frost, Jaw Breath, dare I say it, Macro Pyre.
Hey. It was Bulldog that went for Echo Saber on his Void on day 2, wasn't it? And it looks like the Loader's got the same idea. It's a little Alliance thing that they're doing here. Loader with Maelstrom and Echo. Oh, he's finished it, actually.
Yeah.
Brings it out fully completed to him.
Bashes, for Maelstrom procs.
That seems good. Because before, Bulldog didn't have the Maelstrom too early on. He had Vlad's Echo Saber, I believe.
I don't recall it exactly.
The game was pretty much lost before that.
Yeah, I remember seeing, they were kind of forced into fight and didn't go so well for them. That was the Husker game.
Ah, yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, smoke from Ake and Loda. They are headed towards mid lane. They see Swindles. He is completely alone.
They'll expend the Chrono. No questions asked. Kill first. Deal with the consequences later, but Complexity do not have any retribution there to deal back into Alliance while the Chrono's down. And with Exorcism, S4's not with them. He's going to move himself up the top to deal with the PL and those illusions. Now has his Dual Scepter completed, but it's a Diffusal Blade on Limp that's ready now, and he'll just keep throwing out these Lancers while Alliance take the tier 2 towards mid lane. Roshan, of course, is still up and available for both of these teams, but it's so scary going in there against Winter's Curse, against the Chronosphere, against these big team fight AoE ultimates from both sides. Not really something you want to try and accomplish before winning a team fight.
Yeah, Cole's lineup, and again, one of their big weaknesses is still just their inability to take objectives. They don't push particularly well, they don't take Roche all that well. Their approach has to more or less be take it to late game, because when you don't have a good pushing lineup, your way to win the game is just to get enough items that you can make up for the fact that your lineup doesn't push. Get Gyro 3-4 big items. Same for the PL. And Cole are at least on track to do so. They've been stacking Ancients, securing Gyro a lot of farm. PL's the top net worth here in the game, so they are scaling very well, but they need to make sure they don't give up too many objectives to the Alliance draft, who every time they've got this Chronosphere Beastmaster roll, they are looking to find pickoffs, to find kills, and then transition into towers.
Bulldog doesn't go for that Blink initiation route, instead finishes off his Necro 3 and has it now, and you can definitely bet your money on Alliance grouping up and smoking with all their ultimates ready, and Faceless Void, 15 seconds or so until he's got that. He'll heal up with a salve. They'll look to actually clash heads here with Complexity, as they're looking for the tier 2, but the wraparound is coming. Hunskin and the Centaur in a good position to scout this one out, though, and initiation routes, the avenues that Alliance have to utilize here. This darkness, the nighttime has come, and the Raw onto Swindles, burnt through all its mana, and the Chrono onto 2. Hunskin and Jesse both caught, and in the meantime, S4 rips through Z-Freak, takes him out on the Exorcism. Those little ladies, their sisters, burn through Jesse. 3 down, look for 4. Limp Consolation is the Lich, and now maybe EGM's Jakiro with the Centaur up in the front. Limp finds him. But a 4 for 2, and the 2 supports are the only casualties here for Alliance. Limp, there's no stun. No bash.
S4 had I believe had the Yules. He had it after the TP.
Very close.
may have been able to do so during, but Cole get completely demolished by that Chronosphere. Death Prophet doing a huge amount of damage, 3,000 hero damage roughly, and I mean, Cole had the PL to clean up a couple kills here or there, but it's just the supports that he can bring down. Oh, some spooky Death Prophet noises.
Yeah, I was listening to that as well. Like, what's going on? The sisters aren't meant to be that spooky. Well, she has an arcane rune now. But
save it for the next ulti, perhaps.
Definitely like to do that.
And Alliance's team fight is just incredibly strong. Their pushing potential is there as well. This is, again, going back to the draft, such a well-rounded Alliance lineup, and it really shows in fights like that.
Fighting, pushing, objective-based gaming, everything has been really on the money here, and they're even scouting out Chessie doing one little ancient stack. And honestly, Z-Freak has been really good at killing off these Hawks. Removing that vision away. Ether Lens is now available for him, not the Veil, which we've seen him opt for the majority of the times he does play as Earth Spirit, but this time around, just goes for that extra bit of damage on himself alone, and of course the range increase over on his spells. While Swindles, he's had that pipe for a little bit, just trying to deal with the magic damage coming out of Alliance.
He moves on the map very aggressively. He's just like leading the charge by himself. He's kind of tinky with this pipe, but we've seen Alliance are more than willing to commit a couple ultimates to bring the Doom down.
Swindles reminds me of an American ROTK.
Yeah, a lot of the...
I'm not saying they're identical, but kind of their brash, sort of I'm gonna go and do stuff, deal with me kind of, not just play, but drafting attitude and their style.
And we'll sometimes like overestimate like how tanky he can be. Like he'll sometimes put himself like overextend in certain positions. Like I can definitely see that.
He's pretty close to being a roaring god as well, with all their chants before games as well.
I don't think he'd appreciate the comparison to RTK. He's had some harsh words.
I'm going to dodge him for the rest of the event then.
Yeah. That's why I'll be like, so Gareth, yeah, he said you're like the American RTK.
Are you calling me a feeder? Are you calling me a feeder, man? I can just imagine Swindles coming up.
In terms of work ethic, Swindles has RTK beat, I think.
Oh, yeah. Swindle just come up and give me, the good old American handshake, the squeeze my hand until the fingers crunch. Load up. Looking for this tier 1 at bottom lane. It's been a while since Alliance actually got themselves a tower, but it's a good move here from Complexity, realizing what Alliance are doing. The group up is 5, the ultimate's ready, the push is coming.
Alliance just push high ground faster though. They commit Exorcism with the Arcane Rune, so it's a 100-second cooldown on this Exorcism. And
that's it too. Oh god, shredded.
They push a lot faster. Cole are not going to be... They can't trade Raxus here. This is a losing battle for them. Already on the high ground is Alliance.
They're looking for the 2 tier 2s and then they TP back, but Chessie is so slow, right-clicking down the tower, and he's not TPing just yet.
So Cole's approach is to take the fight with Exorcism wearing off, but Alliance, I think, recognizing that, are already backing while Exorcism is still up, just to make sure they don't get caught on the retreat. Swindles trying to punish is not going to find anyone. Really good disciplined play coming out from Alliance.
Oh, that's perfect. Beautiful stuff from them. I mean, the 2 tier 2s, like sure enough, Complexity get a decent chunk of gold from those. And maybe now they've forced Alliance away from the Roshan pit. Can they actually go in and take it? Roche taking isn't that good. They've got a medallion on the Wyvern, I think. Yeah, they do. Maybe amplify that one up.
Yeah, it's worth considering, but Gyrocopter doesn't... Gyro's items are just non-existent right now. It has 10k net worth, but going for these cheap, cost-effective items in the Helm, the Drum. It's a hard game to really itemize as a Gyro, because BKB isn't going to do a whole lot against Chrono, Raw, Exorcism.
Just goes stats into damage?
It's going to go BKB anyways. I'm about to say, like, it's like almost feels too late to go for an SMY. You've got a lot of cheap, cost-effective items then. There's a lot to deal with a BKB, but you still need one just because of like the Mjolnir magic damage, the Chain Frost, silences, like
Crypt Swarm.
And Macropire. He's going to have an Axe Scepter. The Dream, God. EGM.
Oh, is he really?
Yep.
Oh.
He's almost there.
So he can just sit in Fountainhead and throw fire across?
More or less, yeah. I mean, try and take Roche against an Aghanim's Jakira. Good luck with that.
Try and take towers against it. We saw how good it was in game number 1. Just lay it down onto a tower and Complexity couldn't really do anything with it. EGM, there's the Chrono down from Loader onto Swindles again. They're going to focus down the Doombringer. Earth Spirit tries the Boulder Smash. Winter's Curse is good onto S4. The damage output isn't going to be good enough though. S4 dropping down to half HP. Yules himself into the air as Chessie BKBs, but the roar is there. Bulldog catches him, but Limp, the damage! S4 Spirit Slimes through, but still drops. Loda returns to the fight again, but Chessie burnt through his mana. The Necro units from Bulldog will clear up Chessie. Oh, will they? Oh, will they? Swindles eats one, and the burn! He had no mana to burn, so the HP doesn't get reduced either. Chessie barely by the skin of his teeth retreats out of the fight, still alive.
Yeah, that was a Swindle's buyback as well. A huge teamfight victory for Alliance. Well, they managed to deal with S4 and bring him down. Perhaps should have used the Exorcism before using himself there, but either way, Alliance just win that teamfight convincingly. They've just got such big ultimates. They've got this big item advantage too. They're actually behind on net worth. It just really doesn't feel like it.
The entire game as well.
Every fight, they've just got these big ultimates that just win you team fights. On the side of Cole, it's like, yeah, you've got this farm PL, but this is not a hero that's going to really be able to fight into the Alliance team fight until he gets like a Heart of Tarrasque and some.
I guess if you look at the items as well, you know, Doom has Pipe, Arcane. Wait a second. Let me get this. Pipe, Arcanes, and Tranquils on Swindles. He's gone for the classic double boots. He's going Greaves, I guess.
Yeah, he's got the Buckler. He's getting the Greaves for the team.
And then PL, of course, the natural build, the BOTs, Diffusal, Manta style. But then you look at the other heroes, and like you said, small kind of incremental items that give you good value early game, but aren't fight-winning items. And the BKB was popped, and Chessie just gets roared up and can't do anything there. The Wyvern, Solar Crest, it's good, and Earth 3 has Ether Lens. Then you look back at the Beastmaster, Necro 3 and now Blink, huge team fight-winning items. Aghanim's on Jakiro, yep, okay, that's a thing. But the Echo Saber and Mjolnir on Loda, he is dishing out so much damage here that Complexity just cannot deal with it. What is that noise?
Macropire.
Is that Macropire?
I think so. It's burning. How long does that spell last? 30 seconds.
Are you kidding me right now?
Jakiro soloing Roche, guys. Oh, it's not quite reaching Roche anymore. Oh my gosh, what a spell.
It's still there. Still there. Just keep checking up on it. Just keep your eyes on. Oh, there we go. The fire goes finally in Complexity. Like, thank God we can go back into the Roche.
8 seconds. Okay. Arcane
he's got
Rune.
Arcane Rune. He's got Arcane Rune.
Throw another one at Roshan. Let's go EGM.
So now he needs Octarine Core, right? And just keep spamming out.
I don't think Cole are ready for another Macropire.
Oh, Chessie's alone in the Roche pit. Well, he had a couple of skeletons there, but his boomstick, it's not going to be able to
They've
finish
got
off
all their
Roshan
ultis
alone.
back up. This fight doesn't go well for Cole if they're not careful.
Load up. It's a little.
He's got
shimmy
BKB though.
forward.
He can play very aggressive.
Yeah,
until he gets
right. He's doomed, but he got the BKB off beforehand. A Winter's Curse onto EGM is going to hold the advance of the Hordes of Alliance. The Macropire is dropped, and Chessie, he walks in with his BKB. They've taken out the two supports pretty much here with the buyback from EGM. Looking to turn around is Admiral Bulldog onto Hanskin. The Roar expended, but it's a great Chrono from Loda. Catches one, but it splits the fight until the damage. Z-Free controls him in the Chrono and finishes him off. Now Chessie, he's full HP, but how long will this last with the Exorcism and that Spirit Siphon burning through? The Gyrocopter drops. That Boulder Smash will not save you, brother. And Bulldog sprinting away from the fight, but Complexity have done decently here.
Yeah, they've forced buybacks, and with Exorcism wearing off, they can actually chase and re-engage now. Bulldog's low. Not sure.
Z-Freak. Without Limp, you're not going to be able to do that, but Bulldog, yeah, kills off the illusion. The Urn will take him down, and will finish him off while EGM, he bought back and tried to waddle his way back into the team fight, but Limp survives.
So, overall, like a fairly even team fight, having to use the buybacks on Jakiro, I guess making things a little bit more even, but hey, Death Prophet and PL, the two big kind of breadwinners there. Death Prophet building into a Bloodstone of all items.
Oh, not Octarine.
That was not what I expected, but...
I saw that Soul Booster and I was like, yeah, Octarine Core, won't even talk about it, but... Well, I guess mana regen up against the PL. I mean, that's the... I'm grasping at straws here to see the value over the Octarine Core.
It's nice to be able to, like, the shorter respawn isn't exactly value on a hero that's very ulti dependent. But if he gets
AoE heal if they focus him down?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, where he may be getting burst down and then the AoE heal kicks in, but it's not like like against Cole, they're always going to be looking to focus one down using, like, you doom one, you want to kill that one hero. So
back into the Roche pit we go. It's third time lucky for Complexity and EGM. Guess what it's time for? It's time for Macro. Oh, you got Ether Lens and Octarine on EGM.
No, he hasn't gone the Aether. He's a bit poor right now, but there we go.
It's Macropire time. And Complexity, oh, Loader, hello, Chrono, ready. And he's going to try and throw it down onto Chess. He catches 2 again, Z-Freak on the back lines. Clips S4 and the roar back in again. Winter's Curse is good, but that Chain Frost is even better! Back into Swindles and Limp, bouncing through them, and Swindles still alive with Cold Embrace, but the dual breath, they'll catch him, right-clicking him up on top of that ramp. And Complexity retreating, but Hanskin, he cannot flap his wings any further. The hordes of Alliance, I have caught them. Complexity lose 1 by 1, and then they'll lose Roshan to boot.
I mean, Alliance just hit a massive Chain Frost there from Ake. It says he only did 600 damage that team fight. I don't believe it. That Chain Frost bounced all over, like the Doom to other heroes. That was very key in killing off Swindles before he got off the ultimate there. He needed to find the Doom before the Chronosphere.
The pipe from Doom maybe mitigated a bit of his damage,
yeah,
but
possibly.
I'm with you. That Chain Frost was huge. Because there were 3 heroes up on top of that ramp, and they couldn't retreat, they couldn't get back into the team fight, and they were kind of stuck in this purgatory where we're stuck here.
They did that all without the exorcism as well, so Alliance making do, and the BKB from the Void just paying off, allowing him to just engage in the front line. Lotus only died once the entire game.
And instantly 4 extra Bloodstone charges for S4, up to 16 now.
Looking at a very quick respawn on S4.
Good reason to buy Bloodstone. Win a team fight, and all of a sudden the extra added value of that item becomes apparent.
And he upgraded to Boots of Travel, so very much in a position where he's thinking, I can die and then just TP back to the fight. S4 does offer a decent amount to the team fight, even when Exorcism is on cooldown.
Did he ever upgrade to like level 2? Like, did he go Treads or? He never went Treads or Phase or anything.
Phase Boots in the early game, didn't he? Or
because he went Brown Boots Veil.
Okay,
I can't remember.
He may have just had Brown Boots and upgrade straight to the Travels.
I'm not 100% certain on that.
Loader now going into the Blink here in the late game. Blink against the Doom is just always so nice to have, because it means you're not as worried about getting Doom when you try and initiate in. You can get the Blink Chrono onto him. We've seen that, like the fights Alliance have won convincingly have often come from Doom just going down without getting off that ultimate.
That noise. You know what that noise sounds like? Where is it? Is it Macropire? What's he doing?
Yeah, Macropire in mid.
So that noise, you know when you Requiem, Shadow Fiend cancel animation on Requiem? That's the sound it is. Because I mean, I do that a lot because I'm an annoying little bastard. I cancel animation on spells all the time to hear the noises.
Tell me Valve are reusing sound effects?
It sounds identical to that. The little like the rumbling of the roar. Just in the background. Chessy, what's he up to now? 2,400 gold saved up. I do wonder though what you aim towards, because you need damage. You need like a Demon Edge now to go into Monkey King Bar, something like that. Just to try and get this out there, because you know Limp, the next 5-6 minutes or so is really crucial for him to get into his bigger item. It looks like it's going to be a Skadi here. Could be a Butterfly, could have been a Heart, something along those lines, but just wants to go for the more broad spectrum kind of item. You can kite well up against Loader as well as S4.
Yeah,
as well as tank up.
Fight directly into Loader. The slow from the Skadi. Very nice against melee carries.
Well, there we go again. Tier 3 being pushed in. Glyph very early to be popped, and it has to be to deal with S4. Question is, how does Complexity jump in? Well, they don't. Loader is the one to initiate onto Chessy. There's the Macropie, drop the damage output is amazing from Alliance, and you're right, no buyback for Gyro. Loader pops his BKB and just runs through them all, while S4 1v1 Swindles. Swindles doesn't stand a chance. The Doombringer, get yourself the hell out of here, and Complexity on the ropes at this point. Alliance take down the first lane of Rax, 34 minutes in, look for the second, and there's tier 3. There's no Exorcism here, but it's still not long for this world as the Liquid Fire gets pumped out time and time again from EGM.
Doom forced to rebuy, but I don't even think they can fight without the Gyrocopter. PL, despite how farmed he is, just can't fight into this Alliance squad.
They have to go in. Limp has to go in. He knows he is the last-ditch effort here to try and kill off anyone, and Bulldog will be that one hero he kills, but PL loses a life in the exchange and has to buy back. Down go Complexity. Phantom Lancer, Earth Spirit.
Beasting. He gets kill after kill while doomed. He's just ignoring the Doom at this point. He will lose his Aegis, but he's got a second life.
He finally dies. Finally.
May just want to secure the melee racks here, and yeah, he's going to get the melee racks, recognizing that they may have to retreat soon. Limp has pulled back, and
they can't go top because of the tier 2 there, so it looks like you're right. Loader.
They can just lose EGM here, you don't really care. You just need to make sure you get out, and EGM won't even go down.
Limp. Nearly dies to Macropie, stands in the fire a little bit too long. Loader, he's got Blink and 3, Time Walk away, the homing missile though. BKB's away. No problem. I mean, this double damage rune, hang on a second. 10 seconds until chrono. Yeah, I think he could maybe turn. Well, he doesn't think so. Not against 3.
Perhaps a little overly cautious with using the BKB there, but you never really know. Like, the Earth Spirit may follow up with a stun silence, and then you're going to have to BKB anyway, so you may as well just be better safe than sorry. You've just secured yourself a 2 melee racks advantage, and it's Alliance in the driver's seat, probably recognizing that. All they've got to do is wait for their ultis to come back up, pick up their next big items. They're going to have, it looks like, a Shiver's Guard on S4. Bulldog's picked up an ultimate orb, so he's got a Lincoln Sphere to help protect them against that Doom, as well as the Winter's Curse, and things just going to be on the up and up for Alliance moving forward.
They want to kill someone. The support pairing here, Huntsgun and Z-Freak, they might try and find EGM, Glimmer Cape, and TP. Doesn't have a TP. He wants S4 to come in and find the counter kill. Z-Freak has put himself in a really sticky situation. Spirit siphons him down. 1 minute without your Earth Spirit. No buyback available, and someone on this Alliance team has a Lincoln Sphere.
Yeah, Bulldog picked that up. Instead of what you'd normally see as a refresher, but making it even harder for Swindles to approach these team fights. And
no Winter's Curse, no Doom. Oh, there is a Roar. Swindles, oh, goodbye mana.
Back to.
Goodbye life. Goodbye hopes and dreams.
I think it is going to be a very troubling defense here. S4's already on the high ground with Exorcism.
What do Complexity need? Is it possible for them?
They need a miracle, and I'm not talking about the 9K MMR player.
I can't have him. OG have got him under lock and key, and this lane of racks, the BKB from Loda, preemptively popped just to make damn sure they get it. And he's looking for the chrono onto someone limp. He's back there, the real one, they know it's him, but Chessie's gone. Buyback's available for the gyro, but at this point, Alliance just aren't dying. Limp is chasing a Lich around and losing his life in the macro fire. Look at him! The Phantom Lancer doesn't stand a chance in hell while S4 mops up on the back. The Tentacled Lady forces the GG out of Complexity. Well,
Complexity not out of Epicenter, but they will be starting in the lower bracket come main event tomorrow. And that's a tough proposition for them, a possible EG or Secret round 1 matchup. They had a strong game 1 showing, but game 2 it just feels like there was a few too many draft weaknesses for them. The last pick PL was kind of like, it didn't really patch up the holes in their ship, and